Good morning, everyone. Going to get started here in about, about 10 seconds. Why don't we just go ahead and get started? Hi, good morning. My name's Steve Murray, Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Today, we're going to do a webinar on what I think is the most underutilized, greatest opportunity for sales increase that we have here at IAMS. It's Retirement Boss Radio. Our guest speaker today is going to be Dave Pimper. Dave is the president of Lazarus Coaching. He's also top producer in his own right in both the securities and insurance fields. On the insurance side, he does life insurance a little bit, annuities a lot. He's recently added MedSup to his business, but most of his marketing and approach kind of focuses around retirees, pre-retirees, that kind of what I would consider 55 and older group in general. So like you, I guess, is the main thing that I wanted to mention. So his business is regular and strong. His coaching business has been ongoing with IAMS for the past 15 years or so. We work with Dave on seminars, Social Security seminars, retiree mistake seminars. He helps coaching, practice management coaching, Social Security coaching, and over the last 3 years or so, he has worked with us on coaching around Retirement Boss Radio. Dave has multiple years of experience in the radio business, probably plus 30 in total. Retirement Boss Radio, first show aired about three and a half years ago now, I think. Dave could probably give you a better feel for exactly when that was. At some point, I'll take you out to his website and show you that. But let me go through a couple things as we get started. There'll be a poll or two that will pop up. We're going to get you in and out of here pretty quick. Dave will come on. It doesn't take a lot to talk about the opportunity.
I am on.
Oh, hey, Dave. And
Hi, Steve.
Hey, good morning. And we'll buzz through a little bit about what the opportunity is in Retirement Boss Radio, and then we'll open it up for questions. So if you have any questions, be sure and type them in, and we'll get them asked and answered as quickly as we can. There'll be a poll that will pop up. I think we have 2 for today, and if you could answer those quickly, we appreciate that as well. So let me get going here. I'm going to go through these topics pretty quick because I'm looking at our group today, and it would appear pretty much across the board that you've been with us for a while, which is good. This is a webinar that tends to attract more experienced producers, as you can imagine. So you all know about our new producer builders. I think most of you are already in production with us, so not eligible currently for new producer builders, but you all are eligible for our RPM program and our marketing reimbursement program. These are the 2 programs that we by far send out the most cash money on. One is rewards you for referrals, and the other rewards you for your ongoing business. The referral checks go out quarterly. We send out multiple thousands to individual producers for referrals. Keep in mind with the referral program is that when you refer someone to IAMS, they are eligible for every benefit that you're eligible for. There's not like a cut down because we're paying you a referral bonus on their business. There's not anything that they don't get that is available to you. We take that out of our advertising budget. So by all means, if you have somebody that you know, an acquaintance in your area, or somebody that you've done business with, or maybe you met them at another convention or another meeting or something, and you think they might benefit from what we do here at IAMS in terms of products, training, incentives, support, then give us their name. We'll get them appointed. We'll send you a check for that. And once they start doing business, then the flow of income goes on forever as long as they're doing business with us. Market reimbursement program is, again, a simple one. You put business with IAMS, we put money in your marketing reimbursement account. You spend money on your marketing, and we match that spend dollar for dollar. So it gives you double duty for your marketing spend. Firelight, you should be doing EAPS. If you're not, call your sales director and get set up. Right now, IAMS is our producers in general, we've worked with, I would say, in general, more experienced producer group than many of our competitors. And like a lot of people are like me, they don't really latch on to new things. But if you're not doing EAPS, you're missing a boat that you should be aboard. EAPS are easier. Companies look at them much quicker. Just talk with the producer, and she said, one of our carriers that is slow right now on doing everything, she said, I sent an application in, and within 24 hours, suitability it had been processed and suitability had been approved. I said, Casey, I'm assuming that you did that as an EAP. She said, absolutely. I said, because there's no other way. That carrier doesn't even look at an application for 7 days right now, unfortunately, if it's not done via EAP. So it's really a much quicker way to get your business processed. You know, you're always going to have the right forms. You're not going to miss any blanks. Some of the things that slow business up, almost everyone, if you can imagine going through a 40-page application process, you're going to miss a blank or two unless something's checking you. That's what an e-app does for you. And we have a single sign-on here at IAMS. Call your sales director and get set up on that. And we'll get you set up on the Firelight, make it easy for you to do your business via e-app. We also have a great advertising team. I hope you'll take advantage of them. That's something you should go through with your sales director and say, hey, what do they do? How do they do it? How can it help me? And what's it cost? And that's a good 10-minute conversation you can have with your sales director. And that's why those folks are here. They're here to help you to better take advantage of ways that we can help you grow your business. And definitely the creative department is a big part of that. Retirement Analyzer, if you're not using a software system like it, we pay for that. So if you're doing business with us, we're going to take care of the cost of that. It'll save you 70 or 80 bucks a month, and that's, that's the small part of it. We wouldn't spend that 70 or 80 dollars a month on you if we didn't know that it was going to increase your business and bring you to a higher level in general in your business. So if you're not using something like the Retirement Analyzer, get with Marcus and tell him to send you out a link and let him walk you through how that works. And I think you'll be pleased with that. Life and Annuity Academy. This is a quick poll I'm going to send up, and I'm only going to give us a minute or two to respond to this. Before I put the poll up, I want you to have a chance to look at what gets offered at those academies, and then I'm going to put the poll up, and I'm going to tell you a little bit from my personal standpoint what I think should be important to you. So we got some great stuff, as you can see. Everything that is on there that probably you can use to help grow your business. So let's put the poll up. If I have one, I think I do. There we go. So if you're interested in attending, put yes on this poll, and what will happen is you'll get a registration form. That registration form is what we need to have here in order for you to be called when we have these academies come up. We've got one coming up in September, we've got another coming up in November, and those will be our last two of the year. We pay your expenses. They're 3-day events basically. You're going to be out of your office from Wednesday through Friday, but we will get you back in your office Friday afternoon, evening, or back to your home state anyway, and it'll be jam-packed through that whole time. We'll take care of your flights, we'll take care of your hotel, and we'll take care of your meals. And again, we don't spend money lightly here at IAMS, but what we know is that folks are going to come in and get some great sales and marketing ideas that are going to help them grow their business and make their business more efficient. And that's good for you. And we know what's good for you in the business world is good for us. And so that's why we do academies. It's one of the most sought after events, I think, in our industry right now, and for good reason. We don't spend a lot of time dwelling on product. We assume that by the time that you have decided to come in for an academy, you know how an indexed annuity works. You probably have some that you like and some that you don't like. We'll talk a little bit about income riders and maybe a couple of hot spots that we think you should know about. But in general, what we're going to do is put you in front of folks who are going to help you with the sales and marketing part of your business. We can always get you product, but if we can get you some good sales and marketing ideas and some things to help you, like Retirement Boss Radio or like Social Security seminars or great other seminar or Legacy Lock opportunity. There's a lot of great things that we talk about at the academies that can help you meet more clientele, and that's what we do there. So I'm going to close that out. If you didn't vote, you missed out, and if you were unable to vote, call us at 800-255-5055, and we will get you out a registration form. So now let's talk about becoming a radio show host, and what I think, in looking around the industry, in the most efficient and most productive way available to you today. As I mentioned at the outset, Dave is a veteran, been in the business for many, many years. He's had various levels of expertise that he has shared with our producers for many years on different subjects. And one of those, over the last 3.5, 4 years, Dave has been working with Retirement Boss Radio. That's not to say that Dave has only been doing radio for 3 or 4 years. He's got about 25, 30 years of experience in radio. So Dave was with us. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about that. And then we'll talk about Retirement Boss Radio, and let's see if that's a solution that you have a problem that we can meet it with. Thanks, Dave.
Good. You bet. Thank you. Hey, thank you for everybody for being on the line with us today on the webinar. This is a fast webinar. This is about a 10, 12-minute webinar, so this is not going to take a lot of time, but it is important. So if you've never thought about doing radio, now I'm not talking about a 30-second ad or a minute ad. I've tried a lot of those and have never had any success. I am talking about going in and having a radio show for an hour radio show every single week. That has been very, very productive. And so if you haven't done that, certainly listen up. I think you're going to go in and it's going to be kind of insightful of what's available and what we have to offer. First of all, let me just go through some specifics about radio today. I don't know if you knew this, but radio reaches more Americans each week than any other platform, including your smartphone, your personal computer, and your TV connected devices. That's a pretty wild set of facts, but it's true. I work with the pre-retired and just retired group, albeit when I named it Retirement Boss Radio, and then the slogan is take control of your money. What happens is that this, or take charge of your money, actually is the slogan. This is the age group that I'm looking for, that rollover 401k, 403b, etc. 93% of all adults in 75,000 households and above, they listen to an average of 12 or more hours of radio. Different than seminars. I'm a big seminar guy too, but seminars doesn't brand you as well as radio does. It creates you as kind of being the expert. In news talk radio, even though Rush Limbaugh is deceased now, he started the whole thing in a big way. It's hot, hot, hot. Glenn Beck, Kim Commando, Dave Ramsey, those are all different people that are radio. Mostly conservative. We just gave a quote out to a person in Chicago that was on a liberal radio station. And interesting that he was a liberal too, so that may be a good fit for him. But there are a lot of different stations that are available. So here's the four components of Retirement Boss Radio. The big cost of the production of the show is the radio time. The bigger the city you're in, the bigger the cost is. So we have an outside, in fact, I just talked with him this morning. He's down in the Southeast. His family's been in the business for 60 years plus, owning radio stations. 25 years ago, he broke off to be a media buyer, and he does over 800 shows, 800 shows a week that he's purchased radio time or television time for. Just really an outstanding individual, can negotiate, get the very best pricing, much better than what we do if we go on down and negotiate ourselves. So first of all, your area has to be 100,000 people or more. If it's smaller than that, we just don't think it's a big enough market to get a lot of calls in. So 100,000 or more, and then it's like real estate, location, location, location. With radio, it's the radio station, the correct time spot, at the correct pricing. Those three things have to line up. If they don't line up, then the chance of you being successful goes way down. Okay? There's about 50% of the time we can find that radio station, but we've had some good luck here as of late. All right? So that's the radio media buyer. Then once that's purchased, there's a contract. Normally it's a year contract, but you can get out within a 3-month time period. That's the most common of the ones that we use. And I will say this, is that the production, of course, is extremely important. The production company that I handpicked, and I've got the very same one that I've had since the beginning. The only one that's changed at all is just the call center. That's a tricky one to get. But the production company, they have the co-host, which is a recorded show, a co-host, the same co-host for every Retirement Boss Radio show. Then what happens is you get show notes, and I redo those show notes so it fits our kind of our personnel and what we're trying to get across. So I do amend those each week. So you get show notes, brand new show notes every single week. Then what happens is that they take it, they edit it. So if you have bloopers in there, wrong things, I start over. Like I recorded this morning, you know what I mean? I changed 2 or 3 times. I said, let's redo that. I didn't like how it sounded. And they mix it, they edit it, they put the commercials, your commercials in specifically about you and your practice. And then they get it to be exactly 1 hour. and it goes off to the radio station. So our production company does a lot. And then what we have is that we have because it's recorded, you can record in your office or home, even your car if you have Wi-Fi and a computer, laptop. But we have software. And you couldn't do this 10 years ago, but I mean, the only thing you really purchase up front is I call it studio in a box. It's a professional headphones, professional mic, a windscreen, and then a little sound booth that is made out of foam. And it sounds like if you go up to www.retirementbossradio.com, www.retirementbossradio.com, you can hear my last shows. I have all of my last 6 to 8 shows that I've recorded. And those recordings are for 30 minutes because we pick up a show from 4 weeks ago for the second part, for the second half an hour. It's an hour show on the air, but the first 30 minutes is the new show. The last 30 minutes is the pickup show. Most people, by far, do not listen to the entire thing. But that call center is important. We answered the phones for the first 6 weeks. I didn't because they thought it's live, but my wife and my other administrators took calls. We set up the script. The script basically, when they call in, we're not going to mail out information to them. I mean, let's get you on Dave's calendar. And they have an electronic calendar that we make for them and connect. It's about $9 a month, but it works perfectly because they're not appointments set upon appointments. So, and then I coach. I mean, I coach you. If you don't know Social Security, we're going to coach you up on Social Security, 3 sessions, no cost to you. IAMS, the FMO pays for that. About 30% of all of our business and appointments are around Social Security related. So it's a turnkey system. If you got any questions, simply type them in. We'll be more than happy to answer those for you, okay? So once the person calls on in, like here, this one, it said turning 59 soon, hasn't settled on someone yet. He has a 401k that is 7-figured, also had questions about his Social Security. Yeah. And you get that emailed right on your phone from the call center. Remember I talked about that website, www.retirementbossradio.com. Retirementbossradio.com. That'll gives a white sheet in there, some information about the Retirement Boss Radio. It's good. The cost, yeah, it depends. If it's a larger city, it's going to cost more. Larger city, to get a good station, it might cost $5,000-6,000, maybe even more. But most of the time, $3,000 to $4,000. $3,000 to $4,000. That's the majority of the costs that we normally have in a radio show, all in. There are locations available. I train. I coach. I critique of what you do. We have 3 coaching sessions with Social Security, and we talk in those sessions also a little bit about what makes a person successful on radio. There's not many FMOs that have a coach that can coach you through radio. That studio in the box is about $250. You can order everything through Amazon. It's interesting. It's kind of like when I was a little kid, way back when, my mom would bake her pies, and right above our kitchen sink, she'd open up the window, and boy, if you were playing outside, you could smell that apple or cherry pie, and she would cool off. But I always remembered all the ingredients that went into a homemade pie. How can my mother even remember how to do every single thing? But boy, the end result was great. That's the way radio is. There's a lot of components that are a lot of spinning plates, but the end result is hopefully you'll sound just as good as I do on the radio with everything mixed, cut, and edited. The end result, yeah, we want to get a lot of appointments. Al Jolson's an actor. He's an old-time actor. He says, I like to do radio just like pictures. Leave the imperfect stuff on the cutting room floor. Well, you can, because this is a recorded show. There's no saying that says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Well, you know what? Never comes, does it? Hey, Steve, if you could put up that poll, I'd appreciate it. If you heard something today, they say, I really should listen. I should go in and just talk to Dave for 15, 20 minutes about radio, Retirement Boss Radio, about marketing in general. Yeah, then just mark yes. And if you don't want to, just mark no. We got a lot of folks on the line with us today. A lot of people will mark yes, I know that. But we got some questions here that we want to cover. So, Steve, I'm going to turn this over to you and before we put it in the can.
Thanks, Dave. I did launch that poll. If you have a interest, please put yes. Brady will give you a call and we'll set up a time. And that when you put yes on that poll, what that'll mean is you'll spend about 10 or 15 minutes with Dave. So I see a lot of questions popping up. What about this area? What about that area? That's fine. Make an appointment with Dave. He'll walk through things with you, give you an idea of about what he thinks based on his experience. And then if based on that you want to move forward, we will actually have, he's got a really highly experienced group that negotiates the radio times and benefits. And Dave, you might talk about radio times, and I say benefits, like the other things that Jared negotiates on their behalf to help them to be successful.
Absolutely. So it's hard for us to do because we just don't know. I mean, I've done a lot of radio, but this is a little more sophisticated kind of turnkey system. But Jared, besides just negotiating the time or the slot, but he also negotiates of how many like promotional ads we have each week. Like I get 15 second ads that promote my show, brought to you by Dave Pimper, Calton Associates. I mean, he negotiates that. Lots of times, if you're on a big radio station, they might have pro or college sports, and you can be preempted. He goes on in and makes sure that there's another show that's aired, or you get credit for that show. Sometimes when shows fall on a holiday, okay, he'll go on in and get reduced. Maybe you only pay 50% of that time. All of those things are negotiated up front. He's very, very good. We had a radio station up in the with Curtis, Steve, up in the
Michigan,
kind of Midwest North, by the Great Lakes area, town of about 1 million people. And we were on a very good station, but the time was a very early time on Saturday morning, too early for most. We were getting some business, but not a lot. And so we switched for the very same pricing for a 9 o'clock time. Now, this was a little different. Normally, those are AM stations. This happened to be FM, and it was an ESPN sports network. And I'm telling you what, we're doing lots better. We're getting appointments virtually every single weekend, and we've done it through the summer, which are some of the slower months. Fall, winter, and spring are the best months of the year, and we're just going out of the summer months here in the next month's time period. Interesting thing too, I do see a question about how long does it take to get actually on the radio. By the time you do the coaching and everything, it takes from 4 to 6 weeks. So right now, if you say, Dave, I want to do this, and it's July, August, the first week of August, we should be on the air probably the first or second week of September. That's about how long it takes to get everything down and get everything set up. But once it is, it pretty much runs, like a sewing machine. It's a cool program. We've put a lot of work into it. We've ironed out a lot of the wrinkles on it. I mean, it's a proven track with radio host marketing. We'd love to go in and give you some ideas in your area if something's available.
Perfect, Dave. Yeah, there are other questions like scripting and how do I where do I learn what to say, or how does that work, or what is the coaching around that? Can you give the folks kind of, hey, how does that work with the scripting that you provide, show notes, and you might touch on what that means if you have a broker dealer.
Yeah, there's probably, I know there's other FMOs, of course, that do radio, and one of them, they read their scripts. And Steve, we're actually, you don't know this, but it's out on the East Coast, but he had success with them. But he's leaving, he left them a month ago. And the reason he left them is that the scripts are saying the same thing over and over and over and over. There was no new scripts. They had like 5 or 6 scripts, and they've been using them for like 6-8 months. We have brand new show notes every week. You do not read those show notes. You go in and you kind of ad lib, but I bullet point those show notes. Are easy to follow, and they're from general topics. So it isn't if you want to talk about guarantees, we're not pounding home annuities. I mean, we're not product selling. We're financial planning, educating, and that's what we do. That's how people call in, is get that education. Our offers are extremely strong. We say in the next 5 callers, if you call during the show in the next 15 minutes, our offers are extremely potent and very, very strong, and that helps us get calls in. We would like to get at least 10 appointments a month or more. 10 appointments a month. And I'll tell you right now, hopefully you're doing business with from 1 to 3 of those people, and should easily cover your costs. That is our hope anyway. The longer you do this, the better that you absolutely get.
You should probably mention about what I did here was I put up, because I had some questions on the radio show itself. So I would encourage you, if you want to actually hear a radio show, go to Dave's website. It's www.retirementbossradio.com. I sent you a chat message with that in there. And down at the bottom, you'll see that you can listen to a podcast, and you will sound, between the production and between the show co-host that you use, which is the same one that Dave uses, you're going to find that you can sound pretty good. You can put together a really nice radio show, and you'll start getting appointments, because that's what I know, Dave, when there's different things you can focus on with the radio show, and what you focused on was having things going on during the course of the show that would bring in appointments. So you might talk about that, and then of course the other benefit, which of course is kind of a local celebrity status that you kind of build up over time.
Yeah, you bet. We use a toll-free number, 888-866-800, whatever it 877, whatever it happens to be. It's a toll-free number, and they all end in 2607, 2607. And 2607, that ends in BOSS, or like ours is 888-975-2677. That's at 2607. It's 2677. 888-975-BOSS, BOSS. People remember that. We say that number between 10 and 15 times an hour. It might even be 15 to 20 times. We pound that phone number home, and that's how they call in. That's how we get the voice over the phone appointment with the call center. So that is pretty darn cool. And what was the second part of that question, Steve?
So obviously, when they call in, they're calling in, and your team, the radio team, which is part of the package as well,
right,
is setting an appointment. And talk about how many appointments you mentioned you like to get a minimum of 10, and the summer months,
yeah.
You get into July and August, that's probably the roughest time. So how many appointments did you get in July? Or do you know that?
I do know that, 15.
15, so.
I got 15 in July, yeah. But you know what? This first week, I got 1 last week, and hopefully I would get 2 or 3. Last month, not often, but I got that when I got those 15 appointments. I had a week where I got none, and I had a week where I got 7. And that isn't 7 is a heck of a lot, and 0, it's like, what did I do wrong?
Right.
But the summer months are more hit and miss. Once it comes into September, which everybody coming on board now will start in September.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on. September, October, November, December are great months. They're probably the very strongest months in radio. So we want 10 appointments or more. There's no guarantee, as there is in marketing. There's no guarantee, but that's what we'd like to get is 10 appointments. And I've certainly averaged well over that, since I've been in radio for Retirement Boss Radio for the last 3.5 years.
Good. And then the second part of that question was really regarding the benefit of kind of the local celebrity benefit that you get when you're on the radio. Tell me how that's worked for your business.
Well, here's how it works. I invited Steve on out, and we're playing at my golf club. From Steve's house, it's about a half an hour going into Fremont. It's not a suburb of Omaha, but it's a town in rural Nebraska outside of Omaha, though. But he comes on out, and it was on Sunday, and we're on the tee box on number 7, and this guy says, "Hey, I just heard you on the radio. How can you be here?" Well, it's recorded, of course. He's laughing with me. But people, I get comments, not every day, but virtually every week of something. I just had a guy from Thrivent that's in Omaha. He's one of their big hitters. And he just said, "Hey, what you do on radio?" He said, it's cool. And even advisors are listening. So it gives you kind of that status, whether you're deserving of it or not. But what it does is it's branding you. It can brand your company, but I'm branding Dave Pimper, and I'm the Retirement Boss Radio. I am the rollover expert. I mean, that's what I do. I work with people that pre-retired or just retired from 50 to 70. That's 90% of what I do, and I get that out there every single week. It's promoted 15 times a week by ads, and then in my actual hour, I'm promoting. They do advertisements for you. They're all canned, but they put your name, your business name. And when I say turnkey, it truly is turnkey. You put the key in the ignition, you turn it, it goes. Put your foot on the gas. But it's like I'm like your student driver, adult with you in the car. I'm there to help you, keep you out of the big trouble, try to steer you clear of the hurdles, and to get you kind of on the straight and the narrow. What's working with radio? Everybody has their own personality. But I will tell you the one thing that is important with radio, you got to have patience. Because my first 3 shows, I did not have a call. And then all of a sudden things started opening on up. But I say a minimum of 3 months, 3 to 6 months, a minimum is how long you want to do this to get people listening. And the second thing is you do have to be pretty kind of quick-witted on your feet. So you have a co-host, you're bantering back and forth. He's making you look good. You've got the show notes. He's got the show notes. Steve, I don't know if you know this, but they do 35 or 40 radio shows a week at this production company. And I am the only, everybody uses the same show notes because they came from the production company. I'm the only one that updates my show notes, put in new topics or takes topics out or redo it in any way. Everyone else takes it exactly like it is. But what happens with this, I mean, I want to make sure that this all pertains to around those retirement years or pre-retirement years. And I would say, Steve, if you took the ages of 50 to 70, what percentage of your fixed and fixed indexed annuities do you think fall within that?
Oh, probably upwards of 90%. We sell very little.
Yeah.
We send some at the older, 75, 78, 80.
Yeah.
But not much below 50, obviously.
Right. So we're working with the majority of the ages where, and that's the way it is with investments too. Not that I can't work with younger folks, but who has the money? The people retiring. They have their full 401k, their full 403b. Though it might be down a little bit right now. And it's a great time to prospect because people want help with their portfolios. So we've had some very, very good appointments here in the last 3-4 months just because of the market being down.
Yeah, just inside looking out, Dave, when I look at your business now as opposed to 3 years ago, and there's probably other reasons but it seems to me that the success that you have built, and of course you still do seminars, but I bet you probably get people at the seminars that wouldn't have come if they hadn't heard you on the radio. And, you just did a nice, like your foundational business levels has just risen notably in the last 2 years or so, and I don't know what else you attribute that to other than your charm and radio. And your charm
well, it isn't my charm as a person. I will guarantee you there. And do not laugh, okay? But anyway, what happens here is radio has given me a supercharge. And I have done radio before. I've done radio for 30 plus years, but I never had it. When I put this together, my whole goal was I don't want to just get well known. I mean, I want appointments. And so the scripts that I use are from the production company. That's why I like this production company a lot. And then I change each script also. I changed it so it was, because I'm part of a broker dealer, as you know, Steve, from an investment standpoint. So things are tougher. And then the next line down, like you guys, you have your own RIA through the Wealth Management Fee-Based Advisory. That isn't as tough. But just like we've got some guys that are with IAMS right now that go through that are security licensed, and Mike Hansen, who's the lawyer that's with Charles under the wealth management in Duncan, they go in and they get the show notes every single week. And if you're straight insurance, you shouldn't act like you're a cowboy out there or cowgirl, but there isn't as much compliance. Would I still keep all of my show notes in case a regulator comes? Because you can kind of say, this is exactly what I talked about. I absolutely would, because there is, if you do get the microscope on you. But has it changed my business? Yes. A lot? Absolutely. Do I still do seminars? You darn right I do. Do they work well together when you cross-pollinate with marketing? Pretty wild of what can happen. And I do also, Steve, that as of the last year and a half, not quite year and a half, my son Sam works the Medicare side of our business, and that Medicare side, we do a lot of marketing there too. But boy, he gets a lot of leads, from Retirement Boss Radio and my seminars, but in particular Retirement Boss Radio. I mean, the last two that he did with Retirement Boss Radio, I didn't have a chance to do business with either one of them from the investment fixed indexed annuity side, but Sam wrote them both from the Medicare side. So it does a lot of supplement business for us also, which is really just really kind of an added bonus that it does for us.
Yeah. And so, I know let's get out of here on this answer to this last question.
Okay.
So we're talking about average pricing a little bit, and what a guy can expect from a pricing standpoint for radio. And just a reminder, because I see there are a couple questions. So this is for a month of radio shows, and you do one radio show per week. So it'd be 4 radio shows in a given month in your area, and give us an average cost that you think someone can expect all in.
Yeah. Now, Steve, you did go to private school, didn't you?
Yes, I did, Dave.
Okay. Because most of us didn't. I want to let you know there are 5 weeks on. Do you know how many months there are? 5 weeks.
Is it 3? Is it 3?
Yeah, 3. I think there's 3, but there's 3 or 4. But there is 5 weeks. So for a month of shows, it's going to average between $3,000 and $4,000. That's how much it's going to cost, $3,000 to $4,000. Now, could it be more? Yeah. I mean, we just did a quote out in LA on like the 4th biggest AM station, and it was going to be about $7,000 all in. But millions of people are listening. Millions can be listening. So what happens is, but most places, it's going to be between $3,000 and $4,000. That includes Dave Pimper, the coach. That includes the production. That includes the radio time. That includes the call center. Yeah. And the nice thing about having someone like myself, I'm eating my own cooking. I do the exact same show notes that you're doing every single week. If you got a question about them, you give me a call. When you're new, I go in and critique the first 2 or 3 shows, and we have a 10, 15-minute session. Here's what I loved about it. Here's what I didn't like about it. Here's what you need to work on. Keep on doing this. But iron sharpens iron. And, of course, Steve, you got a dog in this fight, because the better they do, the better you do, because they're writing business through you, or at least a portion of their business through you. So I would say this, as long as it's 100,000 people metropolitan area, if it's under that, it gets tougher. We'll do it, but it gets tougher unless there's just a dynamite station that goes way out. We want 100,000 or more. Our buyer will buy the station. I'll put together the production and the call center. Lynn in our office, we have 3 administrators, but Lynn really handles this day in and day out. She's extremely good at what she does. She's been with me for years. She knows her stuff, and her card is, she's an administrative assistant, but she's also our marketing assistant. And she doesn't take any prisoners. She's extremely good at what she does with our vendors. And that's really nice to have someone like that on your side, working for you if you have any kind of problem. So hopefully that helps answer that question, Steve.
I think it does. There might be other questions. If you have some, I'm going to suggest that you can certainly call me directly, or call me and I'll get you set up with the time with Dave at 800-255-5055. That's 1-800-255-5055. And ask for me. I'm Steve Murray, or ask for sales director, and they will get you a time. If it's a basic question, they'll try to answer it for you, but best what we do is set you up with the time with David. So have a great afternoon, everybody. Dave, is there anything you want to say as we close up?
No, thank you very much for taking your time today. And just remember, we have different ways to market. This is just one of the ways, but it is an awfully good way. If you haven't entertained radio before, hopefully we'll talk and I can give you some insight and see if it's a fit for you.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day. Great finish to your sales week. Never been a better time to be in our business. So if you're not getting in front of the people that you need to do business, give us a call. We'll help.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.